Hey, I am Ryan Castle, and welcome to another exclusive Radio.com live, this time with our pal, Aaron Jones. How are you, man?
What's up, Ryan? How are you, man?
I'm okay. I'm all
Yeah.
right. How's that family of yours?
Oh, it's going good, man. We've been trying to get through the lockdowns and whatnot and trying to stay safe and all that.
Life's coming at you fast, right? There was a ton of stuff going on early this year with you, yeah?
Yeah, man, it was really busy. It got really crazy after that. We went out to Nashville so the label could see us, and then shortly after that, we ended up getting signed, and then it was a whirlwind, man. It's been a whirlwind, and now we're here, and my manager said it before this all happened that this was going to happen real fast, and he was absolutely right. And even though this is a really unpredictable year in terms of COVID and things like that, it's still moving real quick, So yeah.
So what have you been doing to keep busy at home, man?
I've had quite a few interviews. I'm changing poopies.
That's right, you got a new baby.
Yeah, I got a new baby, so he just turned 1, so I'm chasing him around. Trying to oversee the kids' schoolwork. But trying to writing music and trying to keep things pushing, man. Doing the best I can to keep up with the new world.
Dude, tell me about helping out with the kids' schoolwork and homeschooling. Did you ever see yourself as a math teacher?
No. My wife takes over most of the heavy lifting when it comes to school stuff because I got to do things like this and interviews and
Sure.
talk to people and or go to the studio or something. So she pretty much takes over the brunt of the schoolwork typically, and but I'm very present, and I definitely am involved, and I never saw myself sitting here like trying to work with my kid on figuring out her math work or whatever, nah, man, I was, my dreams were out on the road and playing in front of thousands of people.
You mentioned you were writing. Most of the people I talk to, musicians, have said the same thing, since they've been at home so much writing. Do you think like everyone in 2021 is going to have like this great new album because they've had so much time to like just sit at home and work on it,
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see, man, because sometimes isolation can kill inspiration. You know what I'm saying? So you tell the cats like, "Wish I wasn't stuck in the house today." A lot of songs like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Singing songs about doing math homework.
Yeah, math homework.
Has that been the hardest part about all this? Is the isolation? I mean, I know you got the family there, but just being at home all the time. I mean, you said it can wear on a person, right?
Yeah, it can be a little hard. I mean, I've been loving being home with the family, being an artist, and it takes you far and wide. And oftentimes your family kind of misses out on you in between the times that you're gone at home. And so I've really enjoyed the family time. I've enjoyed being home and getting to see everybody. But I also, for me, my life has been built off the balance of balancing the family time with the tour and all that stuff. So I think a part of me definitely misses being out there and the adventure of being on the road. I was thinking about this last night. It's like you compare it to Star Trek when the guys are like, we're going out for adventure,
Right.
So
Where no one has gone before.
Yeah, we're going where no one's gone before. It takes you over to like Tyler, Texas.
So what do you think it's going to be tough for you or for fans, coming back? Let's say ideally next year we can go into clubs and start seeing shows again. I was in a bar the other day. I found myself in a bar, and I got to tell you, I was a little apprehensive. It felt a little weird to be in there with people. Like maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Do you think you or people coming back to shows are going to have that same sort of apprehension about being in a room crammed in shoulder to shoulder with other people?
Yeah, I think it'll initially start like that. I mean, let's be real. Honestly, even in the industry, I think people are really looking at the fall before we really start seeing bigger shows come back, and even then it's going to take some time. I mean, I remember when this all happened and I was having a discussion with some friends of mine about how this is all going to come back. And and the first thing I said is it's going to be phases. It's not just going to be we're back, we'll see it trickle back, and then it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we'll all of a sudden look up and we'll be like, oh, everything's back to normal again. But it'll start out kind of slow. There'll be some apprehension there. And as we kind of get more used to this new way of life, and people are starting to figure out how to keep themselves safe and immunities build and whatnot, we'll see it get bigger and bigger. But I think there's definitely going to be an initial hesitation to get back in the clubs and things like that. I too had the experience of being in a couple bars and just being like, I don't know if I should be here.
Yeah, yeah,
You
seriously.
know?
Um, how much of a role does the city you live in, Seattle, like how much influence would you say that has on your music? I notice like even your press photo, you've got your I don't know where it is, but like it's Seattle in the background. It says Seattle, right? I don't know if that's a club here in town or something. Like
Yeah,
how much does that play into it?
that was just the Central Saloon, man. Yeah,
That is the central. All right.
yeah, it plays a huge role in it. I think, you know, Seattle, because of the region that we're in, and because it's kind of isolated, you know, as you know, like it's an isolated region, and with that, we kind of have this melting pot of different sounds that come into the region, and they sit here and they swirl around, they mix and they match. This drummer goes and plays with that guy. This guitar player plays over here. This singer plays in this band over here. And so what I think is happening is we end up with this really interesting soup of sounds that we have. You know, I've heard different versions of grunge taken on in different forms. You know, I've seen country grunge bands. I've seen R&B grunge bands. I've seen it
Sure.
all, man. You know, you see different types of sounds and stuff mixing up. So I believe being from Seattle is definitely, I mean, my music follows that mold, and also like I just have pride in being from Seattle, you know, especially being from the inner city and downtown area, you know, like that's a big deal to me because a lot of times when we see those artists from Seattle make it up to the top, you know, a lot of times it's cats who like are from Aberdeen, you know, you know,
Right, right, sure.
they're from Tacoma or they're from Bellingham. You know, it's not too often you have an artist that is just straight from Seattle and holds Seattle on their shoulders and pushes that out and keeps that pride no matter what, you know.
You mentioned people playing in other people's bands. I think probably most famously Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. But you know, there's a lot of that still happens in Seattle, right? And there's that music community here is very supportive of one another, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%, 100%. You know, I have had the opportunity to get a hand up and a leg up from, you know, some of the greatest and some opportunities that I probably wouldn't have just come across otherwise, you know. And so, you know, I have firsthand experience in getting the help. I mean, from Mix-a-Lot on, you know, to Duff McKagan, to Mike McCready, to Barrett Martin, and you know,
Sure.
like these people are all very tied into the community, and they do whatever they can to help out. Yeah.
Is it a double-edged sword though? You know, is there an expectation do you think from people when they hear that you're from Seattle, like that you're just going to have a certain sound, right?
Yeah, there's definitely an expectation that I'm going to have a certain sound. You know what I mean? Like definitely that you know we need to, you know, I don't know. Whenever I meet people, they're always the first of all they're surprised I don't rap. That's number one. Like you're not a rapper. No,
Wait, what?
I'm not a rapper, man. No, no. And then secondly, like, you know, being a guitar player from Seattle and playing rock music, it makes it so that, you know, that expectation is there. People want me to be a grunt. They're like, oh, you're into grunge or you're into this, you're into that. And it's like, you know, absolutely. I'm into all that, but I don't want to identify with one or the other. And I do love
Sure.
hip hop. I don't want to be known as a, sorry, my baby's still in the background.
That's all right.
I want to be known as a COVID. Uh, I don't want to be just singled out and known just as like a grunge artist or this or that. I grew up in the 80s and listening to a myriad of different artists throughout the decades. And
Mhm.
some of my favorite artists are from many different genres. And I always wanted to make a style of music that was going to be suited for all that, you know?
So for people that are just getting turned on to you now, you mentioned Sir Mix-a-Lot and Barrett Martin. Uh, you did, I think Barrett and Mix both produced an album or a couple of songs for you, right? Can people find those still?
Yeah, you know, you may be, if you dig enough, you might be able to find some of that, but it's not just widely available. You know, at this point,
Gotcha.
that's the, I mean, you sign a big deal, everything kind of changes and your whole
Sure.
thing shifts. You get rebranded and recast into a different light. So, but I'm really proud of those, and it's also, you know, really awesome that they're underground little records now. You know what I mean? That you have to go dig around for
Right.
you know, for like the hardcore fans, man. But yeah, man, I mean, the working with those cats, I mean, that is kind of what molded me into who I am today because the experience they brought to the table. I mean, I remember many conversations with Mix-a-Lot about his experience working with Rick Rubin. You know, he told me
Mhm.
the stories. That Rick taught me this, man. So I want you to know this. And I'm like, man, you taught me some stuff that Rick Rubin taught me, dog. You know,
Right. The
yeah,
Zen Master.
yeah, that's how it feels. You know, Mitch is still a big brother, man. And same thing goes for Barrett. Barrett had a ton of experience and knowledge to bring to the table, especially production wise and sound wise. That really helped mold me into who I am today. And so for
And
this
maybe
record,
one of the most interesting men on the planet too.
oh yeah,
Barrett Martin.
that
Be like,
easily.
so I took a canoe down the Amazon River to learn the native drum sounds of whatever tribe. Like,
Yeah.
did what?
I was hanging out with the shamans, and
Yeah,
I'm actually an
exactly.
unofficial chief. You'd be like,
We were
"What?"
drinking ayahuasca
Yeah,
in
we're
the
doing
hills of
ayahuasca
Peru.
yeah, that's spirit, man. That's spirit.
So I assume, where was this footage that we're going to see shot? Do you know?
The one that you're sending over, maybe from London Bridge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Famous studio in Seattle. Mad
Yep.
Season Above was recorded there. I think, was it Alice in Chains Dirt they
Mm-hmm.
recorded there?
Maybe Alice Chains and the
Pearl Jam 10, I want to say, was recorded there. I mean, that's, and then, 18 zillion bands since then.
yeah, yeah, man. Yeah.
It's very cool. And I assume we're going to hear Take Me Away. Anything you want to say about the song before they play it for everybody here on radio.com?
Sure. Yeah. So Take Me Away is really, it was kind of an anthem for the restless soul. You know what I mean? It's just like America is kind of cast as this really opportunistic, beautiful capitalist society in which everyone has an opportunity to make it to this point. But I think the truth be told is a lot of people don't have it. I'd say majority of people don't have that experience. And I consider myself to be one of those people who came up in a circumstance that wasn't most favorable to being successful. But throughout my life, I didn't really listen to people tell me that I was a statistic or like what I was going to be. And so I put myself into music and it took me away, essentially.
Right.
See what I did there? Like that?
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm with you.
But more or less, yeah, music became my wings and music became my truth. And I hope I wrote this song in hopes that it would get to people out there who experience the same thing. And I know a lot of people have. I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of fans now that have been through that very same thing where it was like, yeah, my mom abandoned me. My dad was on drugs. So, these things, these traumatic things that are happening in people's lives as they're coming up. And, and it's taking all that energy and turning it into something positive and something that you can share with people, that'll hopefully bring people up and not allow them to stay in that place that they're in,
Right on. I think we'll end it there. Oh, wait. There we go.
Dope.
Aaron Jones, thank you so much, man. Always
Hi.
good to see you.
Hi, I'm Aaron Jones. Good to see you.
Hi.